Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we are going to tackle one of the most important, most used tenses in the entire English language, the simple past. Whether you're telling a story, just talking about your day, or even writing an email, getting this tense right is absolutely key. So let's get right into it.
And just so you know, for this deep dive, all of our info is coming straight from an amazing guide, Peter Herring's Complete English Grammar Rules. It's a really solid resource for understanding how English actually works.
All right, so here's our game plan. First, we're going to figure out what the simple past really is at its core. Then we'll get our hands dirty and learn how to build sentences. After that, we'll nail down exactly when to use it, and we'll clear up some super common mix-ups with other tenses. We'll even see it out in the wild. And then, to finish up, we'll wrap it all together with the absolute must-know essentials.
All right, first things first. Before we get into all the rules, we need to build a solid foundation. So what are we even talking about when we say simple past?
Okay, here's the official definition. It's for actions that are totally done, finished, and happen at a specific point in time. Now, the two phrases you have to burn into your brain are completed actions and specific time. Seriously, if you get those two ideas, everything else about this tense is going to click into place. They're your guide for everything.
So, completed, what does that really mean? It means the action has zero connection to right now. It started in the past, and it ended in the past. It's over, it's done, it's in a locked box. And what about that specific time? Well, yeah, it can be an obvious word like yesterday, but it doesn't have to be. If I ask, what did you do after class, and you say, I went home, the specific time is understood from my question. The context creates that locked box for us.
Okay, concepts down. Let's get practical. How do we actually put these sentences together? Well, turns out there's a pretty straightforward formula. This little table breaks it down perfectly. For a positive sentence, it's as easy as it gets. Subject, then the past tense verb. She walked. Simple. But the moment you want to make it negative or ask a question, you need to call in a helper verb, did, and watch what happens. For a negative, you use did not, and to ask a question, did just pops right to the front. Now, here is the most important part, the place where almost everyone makes a mistake. Look at the main verb again. It changes back to its original form, walk. Once did is on the scene, it carries the past tense for the whole sentence.
Now, that past tense verb we just talked about, it really comes in two main flavors. You've got your regular verbs, which are super cooperative. You just stick an ed or an ed on the end. Play becomes played. Easy. But then you have the rebels of the grammar world, the irregular verbs. These guys have their own rules. Go becomes went. Eat becomes ate. There's no secret pattern here. You just have to get to know them through practice and, yeah, a bit of memorization. Even with those easy, regular verbs, there are a few little spelling rules you got to watch out for. So let's just walk through them. First, if the verb already ends with an E, like bake, you just add the D. Makes sense. Next, if a verb ends in a consonant and then a Y, like copy, that Y has to change to an I before you can add the ED. Then you've got those short one-syllable verbs like chop that follow a consonant-vowel-consonant pattern. With those, you have to double that last letter. And finally, here's a weird one. For verbs like panic, you have to add a K before the ED to make sure it sounds right. Panicked.
Okay, so we know what it is, we know how to build it, but the theory is one thing. Application is totally different. So when do you actually use the simple past in a real conversation? Let's check out the 4 big situations.
So there are basically 4 main scenarios where the simple past is your best friend. The first one is the most obvious, for actions that are completely done. I watched a movie yesterday. It's over. Second, we use it for past habits, things you used to do but don't anymore. She always drank tea in the morning, which implies that now she doesn't. Third, and this is huge for storytelling, is for a sequence of events. You use the simple past to just move the story along. I woke up, had breakfast, and went to work. And finally, you use it for things that are just past facts. Shakespeare wrote many famous plays. That's a historical fact. And hey, here's a pro tip. Look for these signal words. Think of them as giant flashing signs that say, use simple past here. When you see words like yesterday, last week, 5 minutes ago, or a specific year like in 2010, your brain should immediately think, this is a specific, finished time. It just locks that action into the past.
All right, now we're heading into what can be some tricky territory. The simple past is really easy to mix up with a couple of other tenses. So let's put them head to head and see what the real difference is.
This right here is probably the #1 cause of headaches for English learners. Simple past versus present perfect. But it all comes down to one question. Is the time specific and finished?
With the simple past, the answer is always yes. I saw Titanic last night. The time is right there. With the present perfect, the time is either unknown or just not important. I have seen Titanic already. When? Who knows? The point isn't when it happened. The point is that you have the experience. So let's put that rule to the test. Look at this sentence. I have seen Titanic on TV last night. See the problem? It's a total clash. Have seen is the present perfect. It doesn't like specific times. But last night is a very specific past time. They just can't exist in the same sense. You have to pick one. You can say, I saw Titanic last night, or you can say, I have seen Titanic, but you can't do both.
Okay, next matchup. Simple past versus past continuous. Think of it like a movie scene. The past continuous, like she was sleeping, sets the scene. It's the background action, something that was happening for a while. The simple past, like the phone rang, is the main event. It's the short, sudden action that happens in the middle of that background scene.
And this visual just nails it, doesn't it? Imagine that long arrow is the background action. It's ongoing. She was sleeping. And then, bam, that little dot appears on the line. That's your interruption, the simple past action when the phone rang. The short action happened while the long action was already in progress.
Okay, enough with the charts and rules. Let's see how this all plays out in the real world, in the actual stories that we tell each other every single day.
I mean, just think about the last time you told someone what you did this morning. You probably said something almost exactly like this. I woke up, then I had breakfast, and then I went to work. Each one of those is a simple past verb. Why? Because this tense is the absolute backbone of telling a story. It creates this clean, simple chronological order that's super easy for people to follow. First this, then this, then this. It's what gives a story its momentum.
Whew, we have covered a ton of ground. So before we wrap up, let's just boil everything down to the absolute most critical points that you need to take away from all this. Okay, if you only remember 4 things from our time together, please let it be these 4. Number 1, simple past always means a completed action at a specific time. Always. Number 2, did is your magic helper verb for making questions and negative sentences. Number 3, and please remember this one. After did or didn't, the main verb goes back to its original base form. It is never I didn't went. It is always I didn't go. And finally, number 4, you just have to be on the lookout for those sneaky, irregular verbs.
So, I'll leave you with a little challenge. The next time you're telling a friend a story about your weekend or just talking about what happened at work, just listen to yourself for a second. Try to notice how many times you're using the simple past tense. I guarantee you'll be surprised. You'll realize it's the engine that drives almost every story we tell. Thanks for tuning in.